Okay, well-dressed Mike Stone. You've had incredible growth. Well, since I've met you, but just I want to share the story of you attending the retreats, our Accelerate retreat, kind of that before after transformation. But let's start kind of at the beginning when you were making that decision. And there was a little bit of back and forth there of whether you can come, whether you want to come or not. So start there, share more about your story and your decision to attend the retreat too.
Sure. And I'll start just by saying that this retreat was unlike any other mindset or business conference and retreat that I have been to. You know, I do a lot. You know, I love that. That's where I do most of my most fun networking. But this was truly its own class of an event. The beginning, you're right. Yeah, I was very hesitant because, as you know and have known, I've been carrying a lot of high interest debt from one bad real estate deal that I've been trying to get rid of that debt while I'm building my business. And so just carrying that, like any expense, has always been that second guessing. Should I do this? Should I not? Which, you might get that at any event or conference anyway, but certainly that was a burden that I was thinking through. And I remember you gave me a push of like, well, first your natural email to everybody was like, you'll get higher than the ROI of what you spend on the ticket. And I was like, that sounds like a no-brainer. I know the people in this room. I believe that it will be. But still, money is money and I got to spend. And I was like, I don't know. So I was really, really apprehensive. I started kind of coming around to it. Plus, I also was going to bring my in-house interior designer, Ava Kate, who you met. And so
Yep.
that just doubles the cost of everything. So I was just apprehensive. At which point you directed me to Will Moncrief and we had an awesome conversation. I was starting to come around anyway. I was like, I really like this idea. Like I at least should be there, even if I can't do both. Like, and I had a phenomenal conversation with Will. He was like, Mike, you don't understand. This is not just about the retreat. These are the types of people that I want to be doing business with and having relationships with for years to come. We're talking about you, Puneeth. We're talking about Joel Weigel. We're talking about Luke Kolk. We're talking about Zach Arco. We're talking about like high level smart operators and many other names. I mean, I could obviously go on with a longer list of high level operators who have high goals and high standards for themselves and their own families. And that line stood out to me from Will. And I was like, yeah, this really is the right room to be in. This really is the room of the people who I want to associate with for the next few years and be on that vibration with. So that was a very important push. And then we were going to, figuring out accommodations. Like, it all just sounded fun. Like, let's just make this happen. So I'm very glad I pulled the trigger for both Ava and I.
I
And
love that.
like I said, man, unlike anything else I've done.
Yeah. And I love it because I felt like that was a vote of confidence for yourself too. It was a decision you made as your goal achieved self. And so,
Agreed. Agreed. You did say that to me. You're like, would $100,000 a month Mike be at that event? And I was like, of course. Like, I, so well, I guess I got to be there.
exactly. And so let's talk about the retreat now. Like, what were some of the biggest takeaways, breakthroughs from the retreat experience, all in all?
Sure. I think to put it in context of like breakthroughs and the biggest transformation, the coolest thing that you told me in advance that I was looking forward to and super over delivered on was the small breakout sessions. And I'm coming from a place of I usually hate breakout sessions. It's usually just not my MO. And I find those conversations to be forced and awkward and short and unhelpful. In this case, it was very different because you set it up a curated space of me with three high level operators. In fact, the three I just named. And then we had about half an hour each. Oh, plus another smart kid, Harrison Hood,
Mhm.
joined us. He was at our table too, strategizing. He's younger than us, but has huge goals as well in his own businesses, and he's doing really, really well for himself. So having all of us at a table with about half an hour each dedicated to just that individual. How do we help your business? How do we help you get through your bottlenecks? We did wins, which is great. We did goals. Okay, I know where we're going. We did obstacles. What actually is causing you not to have your goals? Why don't you have it now? And we did a couple other things that I may be forgetting off the top of my head,
Your
but
intentions. What are you going to do to move the needle
intentions.
the next week?
That's what it was. And that was huge. In fact, that is the perfect segue because that conversation for me led to a discussion about my debt position and how I was just dragging through, some of these debt positions were just really high interest and taking so much time and attention away. So I'm sitting there and I was talking to Luke in particular, who made a comment about like, because why don't you just pay off this way? And we strategize how to get rid of that debt so fast. And I was like, that makes perfect sense. And then if I did that, it would open up space in my day, in my brain, and eventually in my bank account when I'm not constantly paying these interest rates. So it just made sense. And what was also a little funny about that, as you know, Luke, maybe 2, 3 weeks beforehand, had reached out to me. He wanted to buy my business, 8 of my 9 co-host contracts. So we were talking about that, and we strategized the whole thing. And at the end of the conversation, he goes, "Wait, and this doesn't count the money I'm going to give you for your business?" I was like, "No, that's a separate thing. We haven't transacted yet. I didn't count that." And he's like, "Oh, then you got to do this." So him and then Zach and Harrison, everyone was like just getting on me about like, here's the best way to handle the situation. And it was such a relief because it's ideas that I've flexed in my own mind in the past, but I hadn't pulled the trigger on for some of them. Some are new ideas. But either way, it was just great to have validation from people who I trust, a great room, great thoughtful conversation, and deep because it was half an hour just for my business, and then we of course reciprocally shared value to each other, and it was just wonderful. So having that shift, that was probably my breakthrough portion of the trip, that few hours.
I love it. I love it. That was like my favorite conversation too, of just like this has been looming over your head basically since I've known you, right? Like since 2022, it feels like you're my first friend in that short-term rental mastermind. Like I value you so much, and to see the growth since then too, and for that to not be like consuming your thoughts has been incredible. And it's been a night and day difference.
Your line was hilarious. You're like, I won't go into numbers, but you're like, the problem is X size,
Yep.
and you have X available resources. What is the gap here, Mike? I was like, I guess that was amazing. People who know the specifics will know it was literally like this exactly as this. You're like, what, why don't
Yeah, what are we doing here?
you?
Yeah,
Dude, that's amazing.
I love it.
You
Okay,
got it spiraled into just so much more good things have come from that.
let's talk about it. What specific results and or mindset shifts have you experienced both personally and in your business since the retreat?
I'll start with the results. The mindset will come organically, but the results of what happened there, a couple things. I came home, I paid off $30,000 of the debt. That was my first move from the intentions we set. And there's more of a plan in that larger strategy. But step one was just $30,000 of cash to debt gone. And it was all of my high interest debt. So that was really nice. With that out of my mind, and now also the cash flow increase of not paying the interest on that 30K. Just space and time in my mind, and has allowed me to do more things and just be more focused on production and sales, which has kind of taken a new shape of its own as well in light of this great conversation. And obviously Luke and I spoke more than just that conversation at the table about the sale of the business, which is on pace to close. I mean, the money's in his account. It's going to be sent to mine tomorrow. Like we're done. So the deal that we cultivated also came from the trip. Like I said, down payment comes tomorrow. That'll reposition me into a whole other things that I have strategies for because I knew this was coming. And then my time is now going to sales. I'm selling the management company with the exception of one super luxe property contract that I love. Outside of that property, I'm relieving myself of 8 properties worth of time, burden, stuff that Ava was doing. And all of that is going to be accelerated cash to a 1-to-1 multiple of what that annual co-host commission would have been. So all that money is now just upfront. I'm carrying some back for Luke's sake, but still that puts me in a position now. I don't have to worry about things. I don't have to worry about debt. I don't have to worry about can I make it to conferences. And instead now I can just focus on the realtor business. Now I'm doing short-term rental and Airbnb sales and helping people acquire these luxury properties. So I have two point something million dollar properties under contract right now. I just sold a 1 point something.
Amazing.
Meeting another guy in an hour, and then another guy in an hour, and then another guy in an hour after that. Other $2 million+ properties. Like it's just, and what's cool too is like just the way I'm attracting people. That is one of the most noticeable results is the people who have come into my life recently with larger projects, including Joel. Joel, as I'm sure you know, we're talking about a large scale project in line with his missing hotel development operations, including Arizona, where I would be working with him on such an amazing, massive luxury project, directly in line with my goals. And one of the things that keeps coming up in our preliminary conversations is like, I'm opening up all this space in my life literally Monday. All of this is going to, all the operations and time and Ava's time is now available for you, Joel, if you'd like it. And I'll have the money to support whatever efforts I got to do. So and then this was also just fun because we're on this conversation about attraction. I get a DM from a woman I've never met in Arizona who is a construction consultant for luxury builds. We have had no reason to be in touch. She doesn't have short-term rental experience, but she found me on Instagram and said, she literally said to me multiple times, I saw your Instagram and I just had to meet you and I didn't know why. I
Wow.
had to meet you. And I was like, okay, like, so let's meet. And then we met, we've had amazing conversations, including now yesterday, we were on a conference call, her with me and Joel about consulting on a specific project with the other agent on a multi-million dollar deal. I'm like, I needed you for these specific questions in these exact moments right now. And I met her days before the call with Joel.
Wow.
Like just timing alignment, it's crazy. And it's because I'm on the right vibration. I know that that's why.
Oh, 100%.
So,
There's no coincidence here, and I
yeah.
hope you can see that too, or even feel free to talk about this, right? Like I don't know if all of these opportunities would come your way if you were still in the same headspace with the debt, right? And no plan to overcome it. And
Right.
even the without the faith or the courage to pay it off before all of these deals came your way. Like I think you had to go first, right? And then the universe started to reward you.
Bro, that's what they say. And then I almost panicked, and you're like, Mike, we set intentions, and I was like, of course I'm going to do it, but I have to do it.
I
Ah,
know.
it took me the whole week because I did like a 15 and then a 5 and a 10. Like it took me the whole week to get through the 30. But
I was texting you like dang near every day. I was like, did you do it? Did you do
like I'm doing, I'm waiting for this to come in. I got to move that around.
it?
Took a whole week, but no, it was perfect, man. It was what I needed, exactly like you said. I had to lead the charge and have that faith that it would work. I had good reasons to believe that it would work, but truthfully, here we are. It's been over a month since that maybe 6 weeks since the
Yeah.
retreat, and Luke hasn't paid me yet. Like, and he hasn't had to, but I'm saying like that money isn't there, but I just knew it would come, and
For
other
sure.
things, all these other sales and commissions that I'm making in the last couple of weeks after I paid the debt. Yeah, I'm showing up in a good headspace. I'm not sweating. Oh man, I got to drive up to Sedona. It's going to be $300 in gas plus lunches. Plus, I got to buy him. I'm like, give me the check. I got this. Of course, I'm taking you to the nicest spot. And these people are like, wow, I really like Sedona. Yeah, you do. I showed you the nicest, and it cost me $700 today, plus a $400 hotel at night. But like, now I'm going to make a $2 million transaction and net 24K to Mike.
I love it.
Great, great, because I can do that because I can put myself out there, and I'm not sweating it. He's not watching me look at that bill like, what's the 20% tip? No, I'm like, yeah, extra, extra, take my money, go. And everything's like, damn, this is a wonderful experience. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. You look different, you sound different, like your energy is different. And so
Thank
I just
you.
want to wrap up here of just like truly just share with us like how do you feel now and like how much different is that compared to before the retreat?
I'll tell you, man, I don't even feel like the same self. And I'm using that articulation because I remember when I met Dave Conway, our mentor, he said to me something about killing Mike Stone. And he was not really kidding. And I was like, that sounds kind of messed up. Like I love Mike Stone. Like I love who I am. I'm struggling with debt and I'm struggling with this and I'm trying to grow my business and like things are life, but I like me. And I was like, kill Mike Stone. I don't know if I like that. And he obviously helped coach me through what that means of like more just coming into your newer, better self. But a lot of it had been abstract and theory and a goal. But having gone to that retreat and come back and made the decisions, done the things that I promised myself I'd do, fix these positions, and now starting to see the results 6 weeks later, like I really do feel chemically different inside. And I wake up different. I sleep better, actually, not necessarily even more, just literal better. And I feel more creative. I am left brain by nature. I'm a lawyer by trade. Like you engineer, you know how that goes of
I
like, let me
do.
figure it out and put myself in positions to figure it out and get rewarded for figuring it out. But in this last new 6 weeks of space, I feel more creative, relaxed, and right brain tapped in. So it's been just such a night and day difference. And I want to emphasize for anyone who does watch this video is yes, I'm attributing this to the retreat. I wouldn't feel this way to this extent. I wouldn't feel this way at all without that retreat and how it went and the people that were there. So on that note, thank you to you and to Joel and to Luke, Zach, Harrison, and everybody else, and Ava for coming and all the other people who were there were just amazing. Adam Avina certainly with what an outrageous visualization that was, had me crying.
Yeah.
That was that was the right room. Exactly as you and everybody was saying, that was the perfect room to be in.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so just to wrap it up, because this has been an amazing story that you've been sharing with us, what would you say to anyone who's maybe on the fence thinking about coming to our next Accelerate retreat?
Rewatch this episode 2 more times and then call me. Call me. You text me, call me, I'll tell you.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Mike, for sharing this. It's been an absolute pleasure seeing your growth too.
My pleasure. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.